Hello, you ravenous pack of tech-hungry motherfuckers. Sorry, I have absolutely no idea where I was going to with that intro. Let's maybe have another stab at that one, shall we? Hello there, and welcome to Uncle Spurt's Grotto, which may, in retrospect, sound like some kind of sex pest dungeon, but it's actually just my fresh new studio where I can shoot these stupid wee YouTube videos and make believe like I'm some kind of internet big shot rather than a follically challenged Macam with overly geeky tendencies. And no, it's not actually a brand new studio, it is still just my garage, but I now have a desk to sit behind. And look, check out how white it is. It's so white, it makes me actually kind of look like I've got a bit of a tan. Oh, Uncle Spurt, have you just got back from a week in the Algarve? No, I bloody haven't. White desk. Anyway, I've spent so much time this week building this desk and moving shite about that basically I've done even less preparation than usual for this TechSpurt Weekly shenanigans. Even less than f*** all, if you can believe that. So basically, like most tech YouTubers, I'm just hoping now that my lush production values will cover up the fact that my content stinks worse than a sack of dead puppies. TechSpurt Weekly! So Oppo was the headliner this week with its big event, the Oppo Inno Day, and the first Inno in question was the sexily titled Marisilicon X, which isn't a full-on smartphone platform, but rather an imaging NPU, which should give mobile photography a proper boot up the arse. This packs an impressive 18 TOPS of processing power and is capable of 20-bit Ultra HDR image processing and lossless RAW processing in real time, and lots of other fancy bollocks as well that I can't really be bothered to go into here. But according to Oppo, the Marisilicon X is also power efficient, so it won't guzzle your smartphone's battery. Now you should first see the Marisilicon X packed inside of the Oppo Find X4 series of smartphones, which will be coming in 2022, which have also been confirmed to rock a bit that MediaTek Dimensity 9000 chipset as well. And considering just how good the cameras were on the Oppo Find X2 Pro and the Find X3 Pro, really looking forward to get my mitts on the Oppo Find X4 Pro now and seeing if that Marisilicon makes a difference to the overall photo quality. You can't tell just how excited I am about the Find X4 Pro because of the desk, but believe me, I am thrilled. Next up was the Oppo Air Glass augmented reality glasses, which will be released in China early 2022, but hopefully it will come to us pasty Brits as well so I can test the bugger out. It's actually more of a monocle setup with a single smart lens that fits onto your own glasses or a bundled frame. AR images are spaffed out by Oppo's Spark Micro projector, powered by the Snapdragon Wear 4100, and the output can be controlled by Oppo's Smart Glass app either on your phone or on your Oppo Watch if you got one of those bad boys. So what actual use is the Oppo Air Glass besides guaranteeing a mugging as you stroll about in Croydon? Well, it supports the usual pedestrian and cycle navigation, beaming directions in front of your face as you potter about, plus you can also see your health data in real time when you're working out. Or just see a terrifying real-time account of how much your blood pressure is going up as you guzzle back lager and pork scratchings. There's also a teleprompt function for presentations if you've got a proper job, and a translation feature that can pop up an English translation as someone speaks Chinese at you, or vice versa. That translation tool actually sounds pretty damn cool. It can be very handy indeed for business type situations as long as it actually works, of course, and hopefully it'll be expanded to other languages as well. And last up was the very bendy Oppo Find N, which again is just launching in China to begin with. This phone comes in three colours, white, black and purple, and sports a similar design to Samsung's Galaxy Fold with a 5.5-inch cover screen and a mighty 7.1-inch LTPO internal display. This is constructed from 12 separate layers, so it's tough and almost completely creaseless while offering bright 120Hz visuals, perfect for getting an expanded view of your Netflix shows, games or online filth. And speaking of filth, the Oppo Find N sports up to 512 gigs of storage space, so room enough for smut of every kind to suit your every mood. And there's also stereo speakers supporting a good bit of Dolby Atmos action. The Find N is powered by a Snapdragon 888 chipset backed by up to 12 gigs of DDR5 RAM, while the 4500mAh battery supports 33W Super VOOC charging and 15W wireless Air VOOC support. You got 5 camera lenses in total, including 3 around back, the 50MP IMX766, plus a 16MP ultra-wide angle lens and a 13MP telephoto shooter boasting a 2x optical zoom. So that was undoubtedly the highlight of Oppo's Inno Day, and I am hoping to get my greasy mitts all over that Find N soon, give you guys a full hands-on. Unfortunately, the usual courier wars means there's no sign of the bugger just yet. Hopefully I'll get that hands-on live before Santa squeezes his girthy frame down your smoke hole. And also this week, OnePlus launched its latest budget-friendly True Wireless Earbuds, the OnePlus Buds Z2, offering the same respectable audio quality and active noise cancellation chops of its Pro model, but for a bit less scratch. They're proper bloody good as well, so I've done you a full review if you're tempted. Go check that out for all you need to know. And just before we dive into the plague pit that is viewers' comments, I've got just about enough time for a quick mini review. And so this week I want to gush all over my fresh new chair. Not like that though, it's not that kind of show just yet. So this here is the Boulies Elite Series ergonomic chair in grey fabric. It costs just 280 quid on boulies.co.uk, which is a very respectable price compared with some gaming chairs out there. It did take a bit of assembly. The base in particular was a pain in the arse, but nothing too horrific. Certainly even my DIY dyslexic abilities managed to get it thrown together in about an hour or so. And normally with most chairs, because I'm a creaky old twat these days, my back starts to go after a couple of hours, but this thing I could park my arse in all day long. You got that lovely curved backrest which just matches the curvature of your spine. And by pulling this lever back here, it does actually recline as well. Oh, let's just drift my way back to the desk again. And it actually goes fully flat as well, so you know, you spend all day in your home office slogging away, and then you know it gets to the evening, you can't be bothered to drag your ass up to bed, so away you go. Look, it even comes with a bloody pillow bundled with it. Job done. Oh, this is lovely. Maybe I can just present like this for the rest of the show. Let's get that back. Oh, f***ing hell. As for the actual fabric, well, it is fully water repellent, so you can spill as much as you like on it. Go nuts. I get static electric shocks like a mofo off of these armrests as well, so that's fun. Keeps me on my toes. So yeah, they ship to the UK, the US, and shagloads of other countries as well, so definitely jump on that. So now it's time for the part of the show that sounds about as appealing as that sack of dead puppies. It's viewer comments. And let's kick it off with Ewan, who says, congratulations on 700k subs, Techspert. Time to celebrate 2022 with a Mrs. Brown's Boys calendar. I mean, to be honest, I think I'd probably rather have a calendar from the National Felching Society slapped on my wall. And let's face it, 12 months of that gurning I'd probably end up just punching a hole in my goddamn wall, that's for sure. But yeah, thanks, Ewan. Very much appreciated. So yeah, 700k, it does still seem very slightly surreal. At this point, it's just crazy numbers. Like, it just doesn't even make sense in my very limited brain. Next up, Neil says, recently got a new stout here in Ireland, which is called Island's Edge. Island as in an island, not Ireland, the country. Very nice, like a lighter Guinness, would recommend to you, Uncle Spurt. That's good, that sounds delightful, to be honest, because yeah, I've always found that Guinness, it always kind of sits on your stomach like a concrete elephant. It doesn't feel good after a couple of pints. Whereas yeah, no, that sounds like a nice light stout. I do enjoy that. I do like a nice pastry stout. I'm getting into those like a proper beer wanker these days as well. I had a lovely one from Brew York last week. I think it was like a maple syrup pastry stout or something like that. I put a picture of it on Twitter anyway, because that's pretty much all I put on Twitter, just pictures of beer. Occasionally I complain about how shit everything is as well. You should definitely go subscribe to me on there at Techspert Video. Next up, David says the Find X2 Pro is amazing. I just wish my carrier had the vegan leather one in. Very nice. I had to settle for the black glass one. I had a look at the X3 Pro and wasn't as impressed. Yeah, it was still a very good phone. It just wasn't quite the evolution that the X2 Pro was. Here's hoping that the X4 Pro is an improvement for next year when it comes to upgrade. Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned before, it's going to be rocking that Marisilicon tech and potentially a Dimensity 9000 stuffed inside of that one as well, so it should be intriguing at least. Yeah, they definitely need to bring the vegan leather arse back for it as well, because that was one thing that the Find X3 Pro was severely missing out on. That lovely, softy, sort of leathery texture. It was very nice. Now on the subject of Pixel smartphones, Sir Green says, my Pixel 3 is still great in 2021. I got it for $140 US, which was a great steal, and it's still in perfect nick. Also, the Grumpy Englishman says, just updated from a Pixel 2XL to a 3XL, don't judge, I'm poor. Great phones for the money, in my opinion. It was only the battery that made me upgrade, to be honest, as the phone itself was still snappy and did all I needed it to. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, one of my close relatives until very recently was using the Pixel 2 XL as their full-time smartphone until it got dropped a couple of times and was in slightly worse for wear condition, basically the equivalent of me after a pint of Drambuie. But yeah, even though it was out of support, you know, it's still absolutely fantastic. You know, the camera was still great, the performance was fine, helped along by the fact it's a stock Android UI and everything. I swear, the Google phones, they age just like bloody Samuel L. Jackson. That motherfucker, he's over 70 and still kicking ass. I swear to God, when I'm over 70, I'm probably going to look like Angelica Houston out of the fucking Witches. And next up, Oliver says, the Game Boy camera, that is some proper old school blast from the past action. Maybe you could do a retro review of that one. Yeah, I did actually own one a long time ago. But I was like, must have been like 13 or something when that came out. I remember being very impressed by the monochrome low-res pics it used to spaff out. Because this was well before the days of, you know, smartphone cameras and things like that. So unless you had like a proper actual big boy camera, that was all we had to take photos of, you know, mates and stuff with. But that will now be safely stashed away in my parents' attic in a bin bag somewhere, along with many copies of Loaded magazine and probably about 2,000 VHS tapes as well, all these 90s relics. Next, Sam says, I have a request. The front camera isn't only for selfies, so please include a video audio test sample since many people use it for internet or Skype calls. Yeah, very happy to do that. I Skype a lot with all of the phones that I test out and review, so if any of them are particularly cack in that department, then I will report back on it. But I did used to put a little selfie video with the front camera into my reviews, and I kind of stopped doing it because I wasn't sure anyone actually gave a shit. But that's good to know, thank you. Next up, Ophel says, since we're still on the topic of 80s TV shows, and we will be forever, by the way, that's clearly never going away, I'd like to recommend Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, starring Matt Berry and Richard Ayoade. A million times yes, definitely one of the best comedies of all time as far as I'm concerned. In fact, basically anything with Matt Berry in it is pretty much comic genius. Your toast is still friggin' awesome. What We Do in the Shadows, absolutely brilliant. Can't wait to smash my way through the new series of that. And also, because it's Christmas time, ADBC, a rock opera, I believe it's called, on YouTube. Definitely check that out. It's only about half an hour or so. It's basically Matt Berry's version of the Nativity with rock songs, so definitely very worth your while. Next up, it's Jaded Peanut Butter. Hello, sir. Says, speaking of video games being tough, I'm 44 and still trying to clock R-Type. I can't get past the first boss. Yeah, that game is a proper twat. I'd need one of those unlimited lives cheats to even begin to get near the end of that one, and even then I'd probably just give up and go drink whiskey instead. Either that, I just put my foot through the telly. I've got a bit of an anger problem when it comes to some video games. I remember I smashed my first Game Boy. I think I was playing like Contra or something on it. It was one of those ridiculous side-scrolling platformers where literally half of the screen is bullets at any given moment. There's like maybe one tiny little square area where you have to hover in that not to die. You've probably got less chance of dying if you go to Jason Statham, chuck your pint all over him and call him a c***. But anyway, yes, I just don't think I'm very good at games, to be honest with you. Next up, Ligma Balls. Ligma Balls, I'll see what you've done there. Says, hey Chris, we're still waiting for the Redmi Note 11 Pro review. Yeah, that's not in the UK yet. We've still got the Note 10 Pro here, I believe. I think it's just China and India. They've got it, but it should be coming here imminently. Probably in the new year, probably as I'm nursing a wicked hangover. You know, I'll probably flop onto my doorstep, ready for a hot bit of unboxing action, so stay tuned. Next up, Jason says, can you or someone on here please tell me what the best mobile gaming controller with the mount that will work with the Google Pixel 6 and Call of Duty Mobile? I have the Razer Kishi for Android and it works excellent on every single game but Call of Duty. Oh, that's weird. Why does it just not get recognized by Call of Duty or something? Because I know Call of Duty is one of those awkward ones. Oh, hello buddy. Oh, hello again. Got two cats just randomly strolling through the studio. You're not gonna say hello? No, off for food. Well, f*** you then. Yeah, I've got the Razer Kishi on my review pile over there, which is pretty much up to the ceiling now. It's kind of scary, so I will give it a go and see if I have any more luck. But I think Call of Duty, it only works with a handful of different controllers, doesn't it? I tend to use it with the Sony DualShock, with the mounted controller, because that works really well. Next up, Slaphead says, hey Chris, nice reference to Jacob's Ladder, a film not many could fathom. Is a bit of a mind f***. A bunch of doped Marines, a guy with wobbly eyes, a nurse with horns, and Elizabeth Penner, R.I.P., dancing with the guy with a tentacle that goes up her woo-ha. what's not to like? I mean, I'm surprised they didn't go with that synopsis for the back of the video box, to be perfectly honest. You've nicely summed up all of the important bits there. Massively running out of time now, already 5 minutes overboard, so let's make it the last couple of comments. So Brian says, I'm in the process of starting a Wii review channel. Any tips for a newbie? I mean, yeah, you know, the 10 YouTube commandments, you know, just have fun, be yourself, never get high on your own supply. No, we do have a, one of the cats has decided to come and say hello again. You alright, buddy? How's it going? Oh, he's sneaking his way under the camera. He's oh no, he's going to you shoved your tail in it, mate. You did so well. So I wouldn't worry about it, just go for it, basically. Final comment for the week. Ian says, when you said Centurion episode, I thought you were going to dress up as the old style Cylons from Battlestar Galactica. I mean, yeah, maybe that will be the hook for the 100th episode. It's just me in some kind of, Cylon drag. Would that work? Not really sure. Anyway, thank you huge amounts to everyone who commented last week. Very much fun going through all of those as usual. Please do slap your comments and questions and theories on life and everything down below. We'll try and barrel our way through as many of those as possible next week. And speaking of next week, hey, what the fuck is next week? Next week, it's Christmas, bitches! Hope you've been good, so Santa bungs your stocking full of good, tasty treats. And thankfully there's very little in the calendar as you would kind of hope for as in the run up to Christmas. I have had one email from a Chinese PR saying that there will be something launching on Christmas Day. That can get fucked. But yeah, next Friday we will have the now traditional Christmas episode of Techspert Weekly. I say traditional, this will literally be the second time I've done it. But whatever. So definitely pull on your Santa hats, drape yourself in tinsel and come join me with a pint of whiskey to celebrate the festive season and looking back on a year's worth of tech and maybe some other shit. I haven't really decided what I'm going to do in it. I'll probably just wing it as usual. But in the meantime, have yourselves a fan-bloody-tastic weekend. Thanks for joining me again through this entire whatever this is. And I already said have a great weekend. Love you. Bye.